it just rewards. You wanna go all.
I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV Velocities of Music. Today we're going to do the new album from 2011 by British Sea Power called Valhalla Dancehall. This album, if you're not familiar with British Sea Power, they are indeed British. And their sound is tempestuous like the British seas. Now, Valhalla Dancehall is a rock album, and you know, I know that there was some fan backlash after their last album, Do You Like Rock Music? Mm-hmm. And now this album, I think, does a better job of presenting some really solid rock concepts, and Tom and I were discussing just a minute ago about how, you know, British bands, like Radiohead or the Doves or, you know, Blur, you know, they tend to just get in the studio, record a bunch of stuff. So all the songs that go onto an album all have all these similarities between their sounds, individual like production on the guitar and stuff like that. You'll have a lot of cohesiveness there, but all in all, is it really an album? It's just more of a compilation of a time period. It's really old school how they did it, because that's the way it was in the 70s. Yeah, you know, that's the way the Beatles did it. That's the way Zeppelin did it. Floyd did it. I mean, it's that iteration is still present on Valhalla Dancehall, and so you have a lot of themes in the sound and the production and the guitars. And sometimes I think that works very well, and sometimes I think that it doesn't. Now, there's times, Tom, where I feel like the production is just really taxing.
Yeah, it's very reverbed out throughout, I feel like. It really washes things together. But it's weird because it's not in like a lo-fi Deer Hunter kind of way. Right. Everything's very compressed, which actually the compression sometimes I think kills some of the dynamic contrast. Some of the lows don't get quite low enough because it's so compressed that you hear it almost just as full as the loud parts. It's just a shift in intensity rather than actual volume. Right. And that all comes back down to the production. I would have liked a little more separation between the instruments. I mean, I went back and listened to their first album, The Decline of British Sea Power, right. and there was a lot more of that gritty, you know, guitar and separation of instruments. And I feel like they still have the energy, but the production isn't necessarily complementing it in the same way.
Yeah, it's such a high end. The sound is so based in the high end mm-hmm. of the spectrum that it's like they're pushing the low end too hard here. Yeah, and not that's necessarily a bad thing. In fact, a lot of times on this album, I feel like some of the production causes the sound to become very unique and complements what mm-hmm. British Sea Power is doing. But that's only sometimes. And on other songs, I feel like it's the exact opposite effect, where it actually like tanked the song for me. My prime example is the track 2, We Are Sound. I mean, I feel like the production is all wrong there, and it really just kills the song. That's right at the beginning of the album when it's getting started. But then there's other times, like in the next song, track 3, Georgie Ray, mm-hmm. where I feel like the production helps that song. Yeah,
because it's a little softer, because that piano needs that big reverb hall effect.
Right. It's almost kind of like what Plants and Animals did with their new album. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
La La Land. Track 3, I gotta point out, there is this guitar solo in that mm-hmm. song that just knocked me off my feet. I loved it. And there's moments like that throughout the album that were quite pleasing. Mm-hmm. But you know, I don't want to keep hitting on the production. But the main issue I have with this album is that just some tracks are just better than others. And when you have that, it's when that is a severe thing that you're noting about an album, I feel like the album is actually, I mean, I like albums a lot less when I have that experience. Mm-hmm. So, Tom.
I agree with you. I think one thing that I want to note that's very good about this sound is that it is ambitious. It's trying to do new things.
It's trying to rock you off.
Yeah. Now, whether they actually achieve what they're going for is up for debate. Right. As you said, track by track, I think sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. This album's a little long-winded. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you get to tracks 10 through 12, track 10 is like 7 minutes long, track 11 is like 2 minutes long, and then you got track 12, which is 11 minutes long, and it's like, wow, that's 20 minutes right there amongst 3 songs right. near the end of the album, and really most of the other songs on the album are 4 to 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. It gets to be a little much, mm-hmm. And I think that the stuff's good, but it's not good enough to justify it being that long. There is some slow dragging time, but the parts that aren't slow and dragging, kind of between tracks and maybe leading into and out of tracks, is good. It's fun. It rocks out. There's good rock out moments. There's good builds. There's good slow parts. You know, we've already touched on the production. Sometimes that complements those changes, and sometimes it doesn't. But really, I mean, the vocals and the instrumentals are all good.
There's some great songwriting on this.
Yeah.
And another thing that I want to point out is there at no point in time does this band ever settle into a formula. And they're constantly
and I love that about it.
They're constantly changing things up. The song structures are quite intense, and how they're how they're restructuring the songs midway through, and each song's different, and that diversity is something that I look for. Yeah. I have to keep coming back to it. It's just that sometimes when they do it, it just doesn't work. Some of the times the songs just fail. The 11-minute song, track 12, Once More Now, I feel like that one really gets hard to finish. It gets hard to listen to, and I feel like people will skip it. But then I actually got to compliment them because the closing track, Heavy Water,
fantastic,
and they pull the album, this whole sound, the whole momentum out of that 11-track. Which ends with the lead singer going "fuck 'em," you know, which is actually kind of cool. But then they're able to pull the sound out and actually have a close to the album. So that's something that I want to also give them kudos.
The attitude you get out of the vocals is really cool, and it always fits what the instrumentals are doing, and that's something I really appreciate.
What are you feeling as a score?
As a score, I'm thinking low to mid 70s. Yeah. This is good. It's definitely better than the 60s range album. It's ambitious enough to be an upper 80s album, but I just don't feel like they met the mark with what they were shooting for.
I'm right with you.
To justify it. So I think I'm going to go a 74.
Yeah, and I'm going to go 77. I feel like this album, there's a lot of things going on that I like, and I think that my score, the 77, and then the overall combined score of the mid 70s, this should be a testament to just how good some of the songs on this album are. At times, at this album's peaks, when this album is at its peak, these songs are just fantastic. But the problem is that you got to balance it out with these lows, which lowers the score a little bit. But definitely something that you guys should check out. And I'm interested to know what British Sea Power fans are. I mean, I'm not an expert on British Sea Power. I want your guys' thoughts to tell me what you guys think. I mean, do you love this? Are you thinking that British Sea Power is the best band in the whole world? Because they're good, and I enjoy their music, so let us know what you think. www.velocitiesmusic.com, youtube.com/velocitiesmusic. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.